either crumple under the weight or you grow, and I loved it. I loved it here because there's no excuses. The pitch is perfect, the stadium is perfect, the stage is perfect, but there is that huge contrast. You've got 45,000 one side, 45,000 the other.
A winner back in 2005 with West Ham, the first man to captain an England team at the new Wembley, Nigel Reo-Coker. Former England goalkeeper Rob Green, who won with West Ham in 2012. And we hate to remind him, he was on the losing side in 2013, Watford legend Troy Deeney. Welcome along, lads. Sunny day at Wembley.
Sunny day at Wembley, and an amazing occasion. One of the greatest games, if not the greatest game in football in England. When you look at it and what's at stake, fantastic to be here.
Yeah, and just mention another member of our team, Jess Shrees. He will be with us later in the show. But talk to us about the emotion building up to today. Of course, it's going to be a sold-out Wembley, the England National Stadium. All eyes on here today. What will be going through those players' minds, Troy?
A lot of mixed emotions. Some people will be very calm, looking forward to this moment. I've just got their families. Normally you come the day before, you have a little look around, you get your pictures, you see the things you're doing. But we've just seen all of the Sheffield United players come out together, enjoy it. Not so many with the Sunderland players. Half of them came out, so I think there'll be a mixed emotion. I played here a few times.
Did you come out to see the pitch?
Yeah, the first time I played, the one you reminded me about losing. Thank you very much for that. I was terrible in that game because I felt I did everything right. And then it's one of those games you remember everything. I remember the camera, I remember where my family was sitting. I was just basically there standing and watching, and we ended up losing in extra time. But a lot of the other occasions when you come, because you've had that experience, you're better for it. So today is all about who controls their emotions and who does the basics really, really well.
From what I'm hearing you say, it sounds like you almost felt the weight of the expectation. Rob, did you feel that from the fan base going into that final back in 2012?
It's a really interesting point that Troy makes, and you either crumple under the weight or you grow, and I loved it. I loved it here because there's no excuses. The pitch is perfect, the stadium is perfect, the stage is perfect, but there is that huge contrast. You've got 45,000 one side, 45,000 the other, and it is agony or ecstasy. So it is such a huge occasion, and it's how that plays inside you is key to how you perform.
You, of course, were the captain of the West Ham side that went up in this very same game. What did you say to your teammates before coming out?
Nothing. Nothing. There was nothing to say. I was fortunate enough to be in a dressing room with a lot of big personalities. One of the players that Rob and I both had the pleasure of playing with was Bobby Zamora, and he calls himself the $500 million man because he scored in 2 finals to get 2 clubs promoted. That's the money at stake. But for us, the year before, we had the experience. Alan Pardew went with a more experienced team to play against Crystal Palace. We didn't get promoted. You talk about agony, that was agony because we had another grueling year in the Championship, and again, there was no guarantee you make the top 6. It took us the last 10 games to sneak into 6th position again, and we grew from the experience of the first year. We beat Ipswich, and then we got to play Preston in the final here, so we knew what to expect already. The build up to it does take time, but the thing that you get as a player is the real connection of what it means to the fans.
Yeah.
I know we say it's about the players there, but it's the fans. The fans are the real star of this game today because they've supported the team the entire season in the Championship,
going
up and down, ups and downs and everything.
Yeah.
And this is their moment. It's them that want it so much to be in the Premier League, to be rewarded for what you've done before. And that goes to this one game. Forget everything you've done the entire season. You've come here. If you don't win today, everything you've done the entire season doesn't matter.
It almost goes down the drain. So the entire season pinned on this one game. Of course, Sheffield United and Sunderland will be under pressure. But this game is not only about tension and emotion, it's about money and lots of it. So let's take a look at this, guys. So for Sunderland, who haven't played in the Premier League since 2017, the estimated income from Matchday, broadcast and commercial revenue is around $260 million. It's less so for Sheffield United. They're still benefiting from parachute payments after being relegated from the Premier League last season. Their number is reported to be $180 million. But as Nigel was just saying there, remember, the loser gets nothing. So winning is everything in this match. So when that whistle blows at the start of the game, what did you all say to yourselves? Can you take us back to that moment?
Why are you all looking at me?
Well, we know what Troy did the first time. He was just standing still and admiring the view. No, but for me, in my perspective, I was captain of the team at just turned 20. So I knew the responsibility. West Ham was a big club, and it was for me to get the teammates to know what's at stake, but we all had that dream. We had that passion, connection with the fans to want to get to the Premier League. So we were all united and focused. And one thing I would say with this game is, sometimes you get two teams who come here and they play scared to lose. That's the worst thing you can do. This is what it's boiled down to. You have to play with no fear and play to win. And that is what we did. We played to win.
Yeah, I just think you touched on something really valuable earlier. You had probably some more of a, again, the QPR team that you played had a load of big legends. I was the captain. I was probably the young captain, with everyone looking at me going, well, you just scored against Leicester the other week. Can you now go and do that again? And when I'm looking around for help and support, it was like everyone looking back at me. And then I just kind of froze in that, because I'm not a captain that screams and shouts. I developed into that. At that point, it was, let me score goals, let me show you what I do. And then at that moment, I thought, oh, God, I need to lead this team. And I just didn't have that support network at that moment.
It is a really critical point in the dressing room before the game. The last game I played here was for QPR, and I played it dozens of times for England, for West Ham, for QPR. I won every single time, and that confidence just grew and grew within me. And I walked in the dressing room before the game, and the assistant manager of QPR was on his knees in the dressing room, almost in tears. I'm like, are you right, Kev? And he said, no. I said, Kev, I can guarantee you they will not score today. And I didn't know that. I didn't know it at all. I didn't, you know, someone could hit a screamer, I could let one through my legs, whatever. But to give that confidence to other people in the dressing room was key. And we walked out, and it so happened to be that we didn't let one in that day. But it's massive in the dressing room.
I would also say there's an element of not being over-tactical. Especially as a manager and a coach, you can't give too much information to players on a game like this, because sometimes players will go back in their shell and not go out there and perform because they're so worried and have had an overload of information. You want them to have that freedom to go out there and play with confidence and belief. You give them a basic foundation. That's all they need. And then you just fill them with confidence. Go out there. This is the game. Biggest game in world football. Your reward is the Premier League. This is where you want to go to. This is why you played football as a child. That is what's at stake. So you've got to give that confidence in your players and that belief.
So essentially enjoy it and have Rob Green in between the sticks, because he won't let a goal in. That's what
never lose. You'll never, ever lose.
Have you spoken to Sheffield or Sunderland today?
Sorry?
Have you spoken to either team? Give them that.
But you know, they haven't left a couple of shirts out for me to get in goal if they need me to. But you know.
It is also a mic drop when you've never lost here. Just walk off at that point.
Not many people can say that, Rob. But time to welcome in Jeff Shreves. He's with a former Sheffield United great. He knows all about winning promotion to the Premier League.
I'm joined by legendary Sheffield United bagsman Billy Sharp. 335 appearances and pretty much won every 3. Billy, how are you feeling about today?
Yeah, slightly nervous now as we get closer to kick-off. Nerves are jangling. Big occasion, great stadium, a lot of fans, and we'll find out the fate in a few hours' time.
You didn't just play for them on 3 occasions, you're also Sheffield born and bred. Do you feel it more?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, I'm a fan today, but I've been there as a player. I was lucky enough to be the captain. Got the promotions, but never on a day like this. So I spoke to a few of the lads. They're looking forward to it, and hopefully they can put in one more performance and get the job done.
Why have they been so awful in the playoffs? 9 out of 9.
I've no idea. Like I say, I've been here as a fan so many times. Was here in '93 in the semi-final against Sheffield Wednesday. Still breaks my heart to even think about it. '97 against Palace, and yeah, bad memories. But today, hopefully, I can go home with my family and the rest of the supporters with good memories of winning in the playoff final.
Is there an argument, though, Billy, that that's nothing to do with the current crop of players? What happened before, it shouldn't affect them. Is it really on a player's mind?
No, it won't be on the player's mind. It's just the fans and the feeling around it. Sheffield United and playoff finals just don't quite go together. But today, like I've said, hopefully these fans, they deserve it. To be here and celebrate at Wembley to get Sheffield United back to the Premier League would be unbelievable.